Hey Virgo, this is Madeline to give you a month report of your astrology for the month of April 2025. We start out this month with the sun in your eighth house, and they're having just had an eclipse in your eighth house, which would have been very transformational for you on a deep psychological level and sort of transforming some kind of fear into power and feeling a death and rebirth from this eclipse and makes you ready to start bold and to have breakthroughs and to start bold new beginnings with short shared resources and intimate relationships. So there's a deep sort of subconscious transformation occurring where you are breaking through some sort of fear of intimacy and being ready to initiate some sort of new beginning in a relationship where you become more committed and more joint and joining in the resources. And then with the sun moving into your ninth house, there's a good chance that you decide to travel or taking on a dharmic path or stepping onto your true path and turning it into some sort of career and income, finances. But basically, it could be that you spend money traveling or that you make money in alignment with these new breakthroughs that you've had on this eclipse, because that is a finance house. So perhaps a new idea came in on how to make money, which you then start to implement in the when the sun moves into Taurus on the 19th. And then Mercury is in retrograde in your seventh house, in Pisces in debilitation, but Venus is right next to it in exaltation, where you're really reflecting on relationships, partnership agreements of the past, what is right for you in the future, and going through quite a bit of internal shifting around love, who you love, and partnership agreements that are in alignment or more in alignment with your Dharma, again, because Pisces is a dharmic energy. So there's some sort of spiritual growth happening in relationships where you become liberated. Now, when these planets move into the eighth house, there's this really big new push and this inspired new beginnings to initiate a new relationship. This is very much a relationship transit where you initiate a big, important relationship. Now, whatever we initiate in these times are going to last a long time. So this is a very committed situation. It becomes very, very committed, and then your resources are joined. Perhaps you decide to go into business together or buy a property together, but there is some sort of new beginnings with finances involving joint resources, or you're just having a transformation and fear around money, and you're ready to go ahead and start and initiate some sort of financial new beginnings using a loan or getting out of debt or a shall we say an investments involving or inheritance comes in. But this is a big period of dealing with finances and relationships and stepping into some sort of dharmic path involving that relationship. In other words, a soul joint contracted mission where you're pulling your finances together and creating some sort of grounding future, as it were, with your joint resources. And then we have Mars in your 11th house, which has basically been in there for a long time in your 11th house, where you were meeting or interacting with your tribe, your social group, and meeting people and dealing and healing with emotional wounding involving tribes groups. And then it moves into your 12th house, where you really are inspired to travel, or you've really healed a lot of these issues. So you've cleared kind of karma around 11th house relationships or your tribe group or groups of people that basically are triggering you to heal something, which then clears your karma when Mars moves into your 12th house, where you're feeling quite invigorated to either travel or be in the country or be alone and work on these, or perhaps with this relationship coming in and working on some sort of joint resource plan, you know, because the 12th house is karma and past life, and it is also a liberation house. So there's some sort of a liberation involved around this spiritual growth. So then you have Jupiter in your 10th house, which is having you learn practical information, knowledge around your career or initiating advancements in your career, but improving your knowledge or information in making you better at what you do, or perhaps selling involving in selling in your career more than normal, but Jupiter there in your 10th house would have expanded your career, given you a boost up in your public, also your public presence. And then, so that could be a career upgrade or a career promotion by the time Jupiter leaves your 10th house and goes into your 11th house, where you're really meeting a lot of people and you're coming into contact with more clients, more social presence and recognition. And on this, so that happens in June 9th. And then Saturn is going to meet with the North Node in your seventh house. And that's huge. And that happens on the 14th at 26 degrees, where some big decision around a relationship happens, which really connects with this eighth house placement, where you make a very long-term committed decision in a partnership agreement. Let's say you hire a lawyer. That could be a contract with a lawyer that you're going to hire now for a good 20 something years. It could be a property real estate where you sign a contract that, you're buying a mortgage for 29 years or something like that, but you're stepping into a very long-term committed relationship. And then that with that North Node there, you're in your joint resource, joint path together that you're here to fulfill together. And it sets you on a very fulfilling path in this relationship. And that is on the 14th of April. Then we have Uranus in your ninth house, moving into your 10th house of career in July, which again is going to shake up and change your career situation or completely change your status and how people see you in the public. Like you may be married at that point or engaged, but some sort of shift occurs where you become completely seen in a different way. And then, but also could be a big change and shift in your career by the end of that transit too, where you become financially liberated. So then we have the North Node in that seventh house, again, meeting up with Saturn, causing a strong shift in your destiny involving a relationship. Again, there can be some heavy energies with the Saturn there. There could be another relationship ending. If you're in a relationship right now that seems like it's falling apart, it isn't working, that is most likely ending. And then the new one comes in that is more connected to that is more fulfilling and connected to your Dharma. Then we have the full moon in Libra, which is a relationship full moon, and that is happening in your second house. So there we have some sort of a culmination of one way of earning money in a collaborative way, perhaps, or shall we say a new beginning involving partnership in resources and making money or earning an income involving a committed partnership agreement or signing a contract to some sort of a job or work or a way to earn income that involves signing some sort of contract. And again, this is going to last till 29 years. So you're going to want to think about these things very carefully. But the fate is unraveling and the path is opening up before you. So it's going to be obviously this is the right new direction. These are coming in when the nodes and Saturn come in. These changes and shifts are destined. And then at the end of the month, you have a new moon in your ninth house where you perhaps travel or really step into a financial, practical plan of implementing your new, more fulfilled path. And you can see a future of earning money, or you find a practical way that it actually bears fruit and creates an income and grounds this, stabilizing these new ideas and new beginnings that are initiating from the eclipse that sets you on a path with with partnerships that are putting you on a dharmic, your true soul's calling that is fulfilling. And so on this new moon in Taurus, we then ground it into a financial potential. All right, so basically to summarize the month for April for Virgo, big life shifts involving relationship, partnerships, joint resources, stepping into a soul contract, it's something that's very fulfilling. Also, don't forget with that ninth house, you are having spiritual awakenings. You are and plus when Uranus has been there, so it's a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of, mind-opening, expansive knowledge, information, and learning. And so now there's some sort of open-mindedness about this new beginning happening with the new moon there, where you're starting to take some sort of new path from a new perspective and knowing that this is your true, what it really fills your cup. This is what you and another contracted partnership, soul contract partnership really see a joint belief on it like a like-mindedness. So you go forward and turn this into pretty much the structure of your new life. All right, I hope that is clear and helpful. Namaste.